Bulls Nation, it's been a very, very long time since we've seen good news like we're about to experience today. We've all been through it. We've all been down in the dumps, questioning the future, the players, the ownership, the coach. We've all experienced it throughout recent history, not even back in the MJ days, but for a very long time. And now, this news, right now, we're finally seeing a start into the right direction. What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Code, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Very, very exciting news about the new general manager of the Chicago Bulls. He's actually not even the general manager. I think he's the vice president of basketball relations, making all the decisions, including the new general manager. I'm not really sure. This is incredible stuff. Reese just in a few hours ago. So before we get started, please like, subscribe for the Bulls being in a new direction, going into the right direction, going into the future, and hopefully becoming a successful team once again. That's the aim. That's what we strive for. We're a very big team and we deserve to be treated as such. So we hopefully can get this opportunity to get players in, get new staff in, new general manager, everything to help shape the franchise for the future. That's the thing that we deserve the most, being a Chicago Bulls fan. So where's this coming from? This is coming from Woj. Now, it's, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a new Nuggets GM, Artus Karniovis. Don't really know how to say his name. I apologize for the mispronunciation. But according to Woj, he says the Chicago Bulls are finalizing a deal with Denver Nuggets GM Arturos Karnisovas to become the franchise's new executive VP of basketball operations. Sources tell ESPN Karnisovas will be tasked with hiring a new GM and reshaping the front office. Now, obviously, the front office is what people have the most problems with at the Chicago Bulls. The front office has been something that's been a problem for years and years and years on end, and Bulls fans have voiced that disapproval of the front office for as long as I can remember being a Bulls fan, to be honest. Even in the D Rose days, really. It's been incredible to see how one event where it goes into the media and then everything starts to change. Because as a Bulls fans, it's all been local, really. I know it's hit for anybody that is a Bulls fan all over the world. There are Bulls fans. There's we all know about this, but the broader NBA has little to no idea about how serious we were wanting this change to happen. And finally, when we get the chance for the All-Star weekends, we get the chance, we get the media presence, things start to happen. And I think this is why the fans' opinions matter the most. So this is good to see the front office changing in such a direction. I'm very excited for the future. He later then goes on to say that Bulls offered the job to Karnisovas earlier this evening and negotiated the details through the night. Sources tell Karnisovas will leave Denver for Chicago after helping Tim Connolly and Josh Kroenke to rebuild the Nuggets into a Western Conference contender. Now, this is very exciting to me because we are getting the Nuggets GM. We are getting the person that helps shape the Nuggets into being the threat that they are. They don't necessarily have the star players. They don't necessarily have that person that can just take over a game. They have very good players and they have a potential MVP on their team in Nikola Jokic. So just imagine that sort of experience and helping reshape and rebuild a team like the Denver Nuggets, who have been worse for wear for many, many years, thrive into a new position here. And now we're going to have that player. We're going to have that, not that player, we're going to have that person to help shape the Bulls and help them rebuild, redesign, and remodel themselves and reshape their image as a Chicago Bull, not only as a player, but as a representative of the Chicago Bulls. Everything's going to change. And this is the one thing that's going to be very, very interesting to see what's going to happen first. He's going to be the head of basketball operations. He can make any decision he wants, really, to improve this team. What's going to happen and how are things going to shape. Also, just for confirmation, ESPN story of the Chicago Bulls hiring Denver GM Arturos Karnisovas, this is going to be a name I will have to learn to pronounce, to run basketball operations. And then obviously there's a podcast about the journey. Now, before we get into what's going to happen for these players and the coaches, I just want to say, as a Bulls fan, you have to be very happy with this decision, because we've been linked to a lot of people that have not right for the right for the job. Very, very worrying signs as well. We had the 76ers old general manager who had the burner account incident, trash talking his players. That's not a professional you'd want on your team. And also there was a candidate, I can't remember, I think it was for the Hawks, that was racist to one of our better players in Chicago Bulls history. So those two, if they were linked to us, I think that would, and they got the job, I think we'd all be very, very worried. And definitely, you don't talk, you don't be racist to one of our best players in Chicago Bulls history and get the general manager job. That's not how this works. There's things you have to abide by, and loyalty towards a player is one of them. And especially one that's done your service for 10 odd years. So I'm very happy they didn't go down that route. And the burner account incident, look, for me, I think it's a lesson learned from the guy. Look, everybody has their opinions. Not everything is going swimmingly in organizations. People don't like people. It happens. It's not everybody can like each other in this world. But you have to be professional towards them. You have to back them in the public eye. You have to show that you can have trust in them. And that burner account incident is not a professional thing to do. You don't go trash talking the players that you invested in yourself and you brought into the team. No matter how good or bad they are, you have to defend them in the public eye. And he didn't do that, so I didn't want that situation either. I'm definitely not willing to have that, but I think it would be a little bit less of a strenuous thing compared to the racist guy. So the Jazz GM was also mentioned, and that would have been very good as well. But in the end, I think we got the best option available, because of course the Raptors GM was not allowed to be interviewed and all of this. But the Nuggets let go of someone that has helped their team tremendously. And I think we have to be very grateful for the Nuggets for doing that, as well as the general Arturas whatever, to actually accept this job and accept this new chapter in his life and help us in the end, because we're desperate for help. We're desperate for help. So now we'll go into what does this mean. So if he's the head of basketball operations, he has to find a new GM, or we're going to have to recruit a new GM, or the GM stays the way it is. I'm not really sure how it happened. At the end of the day, I think the GM is a position that we need fulfilled right now. Right now, we need this GM filled, and as long we've made good progression, and hopefully that GM position can be solved within the next few weeks. I don't think keeping the GM that we have now is going to be anywhere positive. I think it's very unflattering that we still have the likes of Gar Forman and Paxson still having roles in Chicago, especially very high up roles. It's very unsettling, and it's not a complete future rebuild that we intend to have here. But we have to trust his decisions at the end of the day, and hopefully he can make the right one. What does that mean for the coach, Jim Boylen? Jim Boylen is under a lot of scrutiny with Chicago Bulls fans. I don't think I can find one Chicago Bulls fan that, or at least in the crowds that I hang around in, I don't find one Chicago Bulls fans that say we should keep Jim Boylen. I think he deserves an opportunity to prove himself under a new scheme, but I don't think he's the right man at all. I feel like he's very inexperienced. He's been an assistant manager for a very long time, and that's how you gain experience to become a head coach. But at the end of the day, he's shown that he's just not ready to maybe coach a rebuilding team. Maybe if he went to a contending team, he would be better. Or maybe it's just not the right environment for him to be in. So for Jim Boylen, if they want to give him a second chance at his job, I can understand that, and I would hope to be. I would hope he would succeed. At the end of the day, we want our team to succeed. But I think in hindsight, that position will probably be replaced as well. Maybe not as quickly as a new general manager, but I think if you give it time, you'll see that either he thrives under a new management or he's just not good enough for the job. And as sad as that may be, the truth hurts. We have to be ruthless here. We're going for a complete change. We have to be ruthless. Some players that we like might not be here. We have to be ruthless in that. We have to show that we really mean business, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to get back to where we should be, get back to the top. And I'm sure the players as well as the staff understand that, and they'll do what's necessary for the team. So also, I have to talk about the players. Now, I think I've heard a lot of people, and especially some of my friends as well, they're talking about a complete and utter rebuild, another rebuild. So that means trading assets that we have that might not want to be here, trading assets that we have that are not seen as the future of the Chicago Bulls, and etc., etc. Like, at the end of the day, we have a lot of assets on this team. We're one of the youngest teams in the NBA. We have future assets. We have draft picks. We have a lot that we can go and trade in order to get a rebuild going, or to maybe get some quality players who are in their prime into this team. So what's going to happen? Do we see Larry Marketing getting traded? He's been complaining for a while that if things don't change, that he could leave. Well, things are changing. Does that still stand, or does he want to leave? At the end of the day, we don't really know. I think it's between Jim Boylan and Larry Marketing. We have to stick with Larry Marketing here. A player is too important, much more important than the coach, in my opinion, especially a player of that caliber that we hope can achieve his potential, which is what we all set out from the beginning with Larry Marketing. So, is Wendell Carter the future? Apparently, in an interview or an Instagram live video, he hesitated when he said if he's going to play in Chicago for a long period of time. If that's the attitude that he has at the moment, either A, we can change that attitude, or two, we have to let him go. We can't hope for him to stay. We need to do what's necessary for this team. We have to have the right mindset of people that want to come in here, work every day, work to get this team better, and not really think about other teams, other scenarios in the future. I know the future is important for any player, and it has to be thought about. Don't get me wrong, but Chicago needs to be part of that future. If you're going to think about it, that's the way I see it. If you're going to give up on the team, then you shouldn't be here in the first place. You need to keep fighting until there's no fight left in you. That's how I believe. That's the character I want, and hopefully we can get characters like that. I believe Wendell Carter is a character like that as well. Don't get me wrong. I think he definitely has that attitude towards the game, but hopefully that attitude can be with Chicago for a long period of time until he gets aging. I don't know. He's a very solid player, and I'd definitely like to keep him. But there are players out there. Those are just two examples of the players that we could see leave the Chicago Bulls for either other players, draft picks, anything, you name it. We could probably go for at this moment in time with the assets that we have. What are we going to do? Are we going to decide to stick with this team? Are we going to decide to trade assets and keep assets? Are we going to go for a complete rebuild and trade for all of our starting five? What's going to happen? It's going to be interesting. Players like Zach LaVine, we all love Zach LaVine. There's no player that doesn't love Zach LaVine. He's a fantastic player, and he's improved every year. Is he going to be here next season? Is he going to be here in the season after that? Who knows? It's a very tough question to answer, and I have to give my trust in the GM here. I have to give my trust in this process in order to make it work. I don't want to be the person to slate everything that happens with the Chicago Bulls, good or bad. If Zach LaVine gets traded, I don't want to be the guy to come on the camera and just rant about how this was a bad decision. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to do that. But I also will have in my mind that we need to trust in this process, and I'll say it in every video from here on in until they lose my trust. But right now they have my trust, and hopefully they can continue to have my trust, and we can continue to go places. So yeah, that's the video. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe for the new executive vice president of basketball operations coming in and taking the Chicago Bulls into the next step of their development, the next step of their future. Please like, subscribe if you're very happy. Also, before I go, actually, there is something else I want to talk about. What does this mean for John Paxson and Gar Forman? I think Gar Forman, basically his future as a Chicago Bull is up. Time is up. It's done for him. But John Paxson is still considered to be in an advisory role for the Chicago Bulls. However, he's even has said to himself, for the benefit of the team, he would be willing to step down completely. If they believe, the fans believe, and he believes that he's just not going to be good enough for the Chicago Bulls, if the ownership believes he's not going to be good enough for the Chicago Bulls, then he's willing to step down, and just for the sake of having the Chicago Bulls succeed. Now, we can all hate on Paxson and Foreman as much as we like. But at the end of the day, I said this in the last video, and I'm going to say it in this video. They are only doing what's put in front of them. They were given this job, and they have to do the job no matter how good or bad it is. clearly they had faith in their abilities to do the job as well, just as much as other people didn't. They did have faith in themselves. So I can't sit here and hate on them for trying to make Chicago Bulls great. Yes, they might have not been good at what they were doing. Yes, they've made clear and obvious decisions that were wrong, and I'm sure they've learned from those decisions. At the end of the day, they're only doing what they think is best for Chicago, and I can't hate people for that. At the end of the day, they are fans just like we are fans, and they're just trying to do their best and try and bring something successful into Chicago. They haven't done a very good job. We can all see that, but at the end of the day, I think the time for hating them to stop. We're getting the change that we want. It's time to move on as fans. We don't need to hate them anymore. I'm sure we can always criticize the work that they do, but attacking them personally, attacking them as a human, is just not necessary at this time. We've got the change that we need, and hopefully more changes will come in the future. So I respect, and I wouldn't necessarily say I thank them, because they've done more harm than good, to be honest, but I respect them for trying their best to help Chicago. So what do you guys think about that? Let me know. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel for more Bulls updates, for more NBA updates. This is Sports Code. Have a wonderful day. Take care.